Okay, 2012. To some people it means the Olympics, to a lot of people it means something quite different. I'm going to explain to you what it means to me. Back in 1991 I started to work with a group of people who ran camps in Gloucestershire in the summer. And after a few years of this, sometime in the mid-1990s, I was sitting in the geodesic dome I'd made for myself. I had a load of people in for the evening. They'd all gone to their separate tents. And I was left on my own, thinking about going to bed shortly. And in that very quiet space, I was given some information. And to use the modern terminology, I was downloaded some information. I was told very emphatically that on the 21st of December 2012, there was going to arise a point of bifurcation, and all human beings would get to choose which way they went. They could choose to go in one direction or the other. If you choose to go in one direction, it's all about opening up to being a multidimensional being and inheriting your true birthright as a full human being. If you go in the other direction, it's more of the same, more taxes, more bureaucracy, more bullshit, more tedium. Those are the two choices. A point of bifurcation, 21st December 2012. Now that came to me in complete isolation. I had no idea what to make of it, other than I found it quite shocking and disturbing and surprising. And that was it. And then, quite a short time later, I started to come across different forms of prophecy. I started to read about the prophecies for the Hopi Indians, read about Nostradamus, and I suppose the one that stuck in my mind most of all was I read about the Mayan prophecies and the Mayan calendar. Now what the Mayans say is that the calendar ends on that date, which means that history, human life, the way we've known things, actually ends. Now this has been very badly misinterpreted by some people, notably by the makers of a film called 2012, which if you want to laugh I recommend you go and watch it. It's really not what it's about at all. In fact, it's the dawning of the most amazing opportunity, and I would say that from about October next year, so from October 2011 onwards, we are going to start to see some really major changes in the way that we as human beings operate and as we as human beings are. So this is the idea. The idea is that we are at the closing stages of a remarkable experiment. And the experiment has been to answer the question, and the question is very simple. What is it to be human? That's the question. And one of the things that being a human being seems to be about is about forgetting our birthright and going to sleep. And approximately 7,000 years ago there was something that happened to human beings, and what happened is we actually got split into two parts. We got split into the physical self and the higher self. So 75% of the soul inhabited the space of the higher self, and 25% of the soul inhabited the physical self. Now we are in the point where that's all about to end, and our physical self and our higher self quite naturally are beginning to merge. This merging is due to be completed on or before the 21st of December 2012. Why the deadline? Well, apparently the deadline is to use this wonderful planet which gives us our life and our home, the planet Earth. The planet Earth decided that she would provide us with a home for a very specific period of time, and get this, for no longer. So our lease runs out on the 21st of December 2012, that's the idea. So this is why the point of bifurcation comes in. We get to choose. We can either re-embrace our birthright, which is to be multi-dimensional human beings, to be able to exist in the third and the fourth dimensions, but the fifth and the sixth and all the others as well. If you choose that path, then the sky's the limit. In fact, it goes beyond the limit in terms of what you can become and be. All the things you've ever read about in the most amazing fantasy and science fiction books are all your birthright. That's how human beings used to live up until 7,000 years ago. So what happened 7,000 years ago? There was a split from the higher self and the physical self. At that point what we tended to find is that we became psychically reduced in awareness. And as we lost our psychic abilities, there were various devices that were installed on this planet to help us to regain them. All the pyramids, Stonehenge and the stone circles too, all these places were designed to encourage us to reawaken our psychic connection with the universe. Because the problem that we've experienced as being human beings is that the act of being fully physical tends to deaden us psychically. Now, a way to understand what it's like to be psychically deadened is as follows. If you're psychically deadened, all you care about is yourself, all you're interested in is your own pleasure, and you're probably quite happy for people to fight wars. That's what it means to be psychically deadened. When you become psychically reawakened, the thought of harming another human being is insufferable. You cannot bear it, because you know if one human being harms another, that's hurting you. That's what it's like to be connected. That's what it's like to be a full human being. And that's what we're all about to become within an incredibly short space of time, because here we are in June 2010, well, October 2011, that's so near. December 2012, that is so near. When I got this information downloaded to me in the early 1990s, it seemed like so far away. It seemed like, how on earth can I wait that long? What can I do about it? It's just so confusing. At this point in our story, it's so near, it's so round the corner. So what can we do? There are some very simple things we can do. The first thing is to be brutally and rigorously honest with yourself. That's where you want to begin. Don't bother about other people, whether they're honest. That's not your business. Your only business is to be concerned about being honest with yourself. If you can start to be honest with yourself, that's a great step forward. The next thing to realise is your higher self is actually got your best interests at heart. Your higher self is determining how you are evolving. So if you are waking up quickly, your higher self has agreed to that. If you are waking up slowly, your higher self has agreed to that. If you are taking a long time to wake up, your higher self has agreed to that. So relax. Be honest with yourself. And here's the third thing. Pay attention to your intuition. Your intuition is your golden key to get through these times. There are people that say the times we're going to be going through are going to be difficult. People talk about financial collapses, they talk about economic collapses. We'll see. What I would say to you is that this is the time to be open to your intuition. So if your intuition says, don't walk the way home I normally work, turn left and walk down that road I don't normally walk down. If your intuition says that, do it. Because walking that slightly different path, you might meet somebody, you might bump into someone that you haven't seen for a long time. You might encounter a stranger that you feel drawn to have a conversation with. You might see a park bench and think, I'm going to go and sit in that park bench. Your rational mind will say, no, I'm late for work, or no, I need to get home and cook the dinner. Your intuition will say, go and sit on that park bench. This is my advice to you. If your intuition says go and sit on the park bench, if the intuition says, I know it's 10:30 at night, I'm going to go outside for a little walk. Whatever your intuition says, now is the time to give it the opportunity. Now is the time to follow it. Because by following your intuition, it means you become more open. By becoming more open, you're actually waking up. And by waking up, you're reclaiming your birthright. There are so many abilities human beings used to have, and they are just around the corner. You will soon have the ability to be able to communicate with the mind of another. That's called telepathy. You will soon have the ability to travel in space and time. You will soon have the ability to be in more than one place at the same time. You will soon have the ability to be able to manifest whatever it is that you desire. And here's the rub. In order for this to be the case, you have to be pure and clean. In other words, you need to let go of thoughts of vengeance. You need to let go of thoughts of revenge. Let go of any thoughts or any desires to harm another, because those are literally keeping you asleep and keeping you enslaved. The only surefire route to a successful transition into 2012 is to be open, to be loving, to be in your heart, and to want the best for other people. And if you see someone and they piss you off, get over it. It's not that important. If you've got a petty grievance about somebody that did something to you in the past, get over it. It's time to embrace your birthright. It's time to be a fully vibrant, living human being, knowing that the sky's the limit. All sorts of possibilities are there just awaiting, and your higher self has actually got the timescale worked out perfectly for you. So at whatever speed you're awakening, it's right for you. And you are unique. So is everybody else. Everyone is taking their particular way to get to this point. So if you see someone who's taking a party and think, oh, they're being a bit slow, well, hang on a moment, maybe they're doing it their way. Maybe their way is right for them. And maybe your way is right for you. Maybe we can give up judging other people. Maybe we can accept people even more than we do today. Perhaps every day I can create this thought form that the following day I accept people even more. And that way I'm going to feel better about myself and better about other people. And that way we're going to awaken beautifully to our birthright as true human beings. I look forward to it.